I, 29F, keep finding long hairs in my bathroom, which is strange because my husband, 32F, is bald and I have a short pixie crop hairstyle. Typo. Husband is bald, 32M. Using a throwaway account because reasons. This started a few weeks ago. While cleaning the bathroom I found a number of long hair strands over my bathroom wall by the shower. This struck me as very odd because not only does my husband not have hair, I also wear a very cropped, short hairstyle. So it's impossible for the strands I found to belong to either me or my husband. Confused, I washed them away but couldn't stop thinking about it. I decided not to mention it but kept looking out for them. There seems to be a pattern that there's hairs appearing when I'm either at work or out for a longer time period. I feel like I'm going crazy and feel like I shouldn't just immediately go to my husband cheating on me with a longer haired woman. I asked my husband about it and he just shrugged. Which makes me more paranoid, as surely this is something that's strange, so why is he so blasé about it? I'm starting to think he's playing it down to stop me from finding out the truth. It happened again 2 days ago and I asked my husband again. He dismissed it but this time admitted it's strange but told me the only explanation is that they must be my hairs. They are not, and after saying so, now he'll just ignore me if I bring it up. I don't want to assume my husband is cheating on me and accuse him of such over something so ridiculous, but I'm driving myself into the ground trying to work out how the hairs have got there without my husband dismissing it as nothing. During lockdown we haven't had any visitors, that I know of, so can rule out his sister. TL. Doctor, I believe my husband is cheating on me because I keep finding long hairs in the bathroom which can't possibly belong to either of us. Time for the responses. Do you do your laundry at a public laundromat or share washers and dryers with anyone? Or is there anyone you have been in contact with during this time that has long hair? While unlikely, that may explain finding hairs once or twice. But if it's recurring, especially in the shower, I don't think you are unreasonable to be suspicious. My ex-boyfriend has long past shoulder-length thick black, Hispanic hair. I have thin light brown hair. When we broke up a year ago he moved out of my apartment. To this day, I still find his hair places. Like it just creeps out from under ledges or something. I have no idea. I have scrubbed and cleaned my shower and bathroom so many times in the past year. But somehow I still find his hair every now and then. How long have you lived in this place? Could it be from a previous tenant? This happened to me with a boyfriend one time and I accused him of cheating. He gaslit me real good and convinced me I was crazy, so I thought I was. Cut to a couple weeks later and I found photo evidence of the cheating and the girl had the same hair I'd seen in his restroom. I contacted her shortly after and she admitted that he'd flown her in and she stayed the weekend with him. Talk to your partner. Don't let them gaslight you. Please give us an update. While I understand you don't want to jump to conclusions, the bathroom is quite the spot for, well, cheating. But I do wonder, if you asked your husband before about this, and let's say it's true, how come it happened a second time while he now knows you're up to something? I believe somebody who's actively cheating on you would be more careful to get caught by their partner, especially after you mentioned finding hairs. But yeah. I really hope this isn't the case. Frown, so please give us an update after you know more. Time for an update. I ultimately decided against getting a secret camera set up because ironically enough I didn't want to betray my partner's trust. Though part of me wanted to get one to squash any worries of someone living in my walls, as per some comments said. I did though plan to leave work early, which is something I've never done before. My boss allowed me to leave after a half day. Upon returning home, nothing seemed amiss. I was expecting another car on the drive or parked outside on the street. There was no other car I didn't recognize. Quietly letting myself in, I was immediately confused. In the hallway, there was a pair of shoes I didn't recognize, and not only that, they looked like men's shoes. Standing in the hallway trying to work out what to do, if I should sneak around or make my presence known, before I could decide, my husband walked out of the kitchen with 2 cups of tea. By my husband's face it was obvious he was surprised to see me. Playing along with naivete, I asked my husband how he could have known I was coming home early to make me tea. Expecting my husband to lie, he surprised me by sitting me down and explaining everything. At the beginning of lockdown, his friend, someone I'm not all that close with because only met once, was evicted, lost his job, and had been couch surfing. So for some days over the past couple of weeks, this guy has been traveling to our house, and with the acceptance of my husband, using our bathroom to freshen up to attend interviews. He was also borrowing shirts and suits from my husband. As it turns out, my husband's friend has long hair and a beard. So it turns out my husband isn't cheating on me but was hiding the fact his long-haired friend was coming over to use our shower. After his shower, I ended up meeting Dave and he turned out to be a very nice bloke just down on his luck. I wished him the best for his socially distanced interview and he went on his way. I asked my husband why he didn't just tell me, as I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Turns out he was worried about my reaction and me not liking his friend or approving of the situation. He also told me Dave was very embarrassed about the whole situation and didn't want people to know what he was having to do. I told my husband I was starting to believe he was cheating and he was shocked, having not even considering those implications while attempting covering for his friend. I told him this whole thing was ridiculous and even suggested his friend live with us until he's back on his feet. Funnily enough, my worst case scenario which was mentioned in the replies was either a homeless man or woman living in my walls and sneakily using the shower. And though this seems to be half the case, I'm glad it wasn't a stranger as such that wasn't unwelcome and someone that wasn't living in my walls. Thank you everyone that commented and took an interest in this. Ready for the next story? My sister-in-law 27F is falsely accusing me, 28M, of having an affair with her. I don't know what to do or how to stop her from making these crazy claims. Sister-in-law and I have never had much of a relationship. Just a cordial relationship. My wife, 25F, and Sil aren't particularly close either. Late last year, Sil briefly moved in with us after she broke up with her boyfriend and until she could find her own place. She stayed with us for about 3 to 4 months and then moved out. Last month, out of nowhere, sister-in-law called my wife and claimed that back when she was living with us, she had an affair with me and that she feels really guilty and couldn't take it anymore and wanted to confess to my wife. She told her that I was the one who pursued her and she gave in because she was vulnerable after her breakup. It's so bizarre cause none of this ever ducking happened. My wife was very shocked but we talked it over and nothing sister-in-law said made sense when we went over the timeline etc. And I insisted on showing my wife my phone and well I didn't really know what else to do to show that I didn't have an affair. Luckily, my wife believes me and she has told me that sister-in-law had a problem with lying for attention when they were younger too but she thought sister-in-law grew out of it. Apparently that's why they are not close cause she used to make up elaborate stories at school and often lied about my wife. My in-laws believe Sil and are now insisting that my wife leave me, accusing me of being abusive and keeping her under my thumb, which is ridiculous. They constantly call and message my wife despite her telling her parents that she doesn't believe Sil's claims. They think my wife is a battered woman. I don't know what Sil told them but they said Sil told them she saw questionable behavior from me towards my wife while she was living with us. My in-laws also called my parents and told them all this and my wife and I had to call them and explain everything. The whole thing is taking a toll on me and my wife. I'm angry and nervous all the time. I dread to think what else she might accuse me of and my wife keeps apologizing to me and I know she feels really bad about all this. I know she feels very betrayed and stifled by her family. I just don't know what to do. It just feels surreal. DL, Doctor, Sil falsely accused me of having an affair with her. It's ducking up our lives and what to do? Time for the responses. Have lawyer send Sil a cease and desist letter. It should basically say that if she does not stop telling lies about you, you will sue her for defamation. I had deja vu reading this. A friend I had named Michelle had told me that her family was abusive and she was scared they would kill her and she needed to get away from them. My partner and I let her stay with us for a couple months. She started an online relationship with my male friend and she mainly kept to herself in the guest bedroom. Once she moved out I realized through another friend she had been lying about the entire family situation and had lied to this mutual friend about literally everything that transpired while she was staying with us. She tried on one of my corsets for example and she couldn't do it up as it was too small. She told my male friend and the other friend that she'd tried on my corset and I was so jealous because it fit her and it didn't fit me. Why would I own a corset that doesn't fit me? That doesn't even make sense. But the part that applies to your story is she told this other friend that she'd been having an affair with my partner. That he'd snuck out with her to have dinner and coffees and had complained to her about how awful I was. It was physically impossible for my partner to have done that. There was not a single time that we weren't together. We owned a business so worked there together all day, went home together at night, etc. I think she was just living in fantasy land and decided to lie about her life to make it seem more interesting. In your situation however, I suspect she's jealous of your partnership and is trying to break you up so her sister can be just as miserable as she is or wants a chance with you. I completely agree with the cease and desist others have suggested. Your situation is putting a strain on your relationship with your in-laws which is unacceptable. She is slandering you and you don't even need a cease and desist letter. She can be sued now. I would have an attorney write her and say unless she issues an immediate written retraction of her allegations, you will sue her for damages in court. It will be a he and she said versus she said, but if she has a history of telling lies, you should be able to win. In such a case, truth is a defense, so she would have to defend the suit by claiming it actually happened. I suspect if it's false, her story will fall apart in a deposition before trial. And she sounds like she won't be able to afford an attorney. I'd come at her hard on the court front, giving her 7 days to issue a written retraction and have a complaint ready to be filed and served by the attorney. I'm an attorney for 30 years, so take this for what it's worth. Time for the next story. My wife had an emotional affair with her co-worker. My wife of 4 years admitted to me last night that she has feelings for another man. She decided to tell me because the other guy was trying to get her to leave me, and she doesn't want to, but I guess wanted me aware of the situation to keep her honest. The news was obviously shocking, and now here I am trying to make sense of what she told me and figure out where we even go from here. All advice is appreciated. My wife and I have been together in all for 7 years. We don't have any children. COVID kind of put that on hold for us for a while. Our relationship has been basically perfect. The only thing we regularly disagree on is whose turn it is to wash the dishes. It just being the two of us living together, we spend lots of time as a couple, and we've always had a great love life. My wife isn't exactly a romantic person, but we've both always tried to keep wooing each other like you hear on TV and in movies. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I thought I was meeting any needs that she has, so I'm confused why she's had to seek comfort in another man. I guess I did notice a few changes in her behavior about 6 months ago. She was on her phone a lot, staying late at work or going in extra. We weren't making love quite as much. This was all during the early stages of COVID, though, where nothing was normal, so I chalked it up to that and wasn't thinking much of it. Until last night when she told me that she's fallen for one of her co-workers. She claims that nothing physical has happened between them, and that they've only expressed interest in each other verbally. That's still pretty unacceptable to me as her husband though. Before I even had to tell her it needed to happen, my wife promised to stop talking to this guy unless it involves work. She said that she told him that she wasn't leaving me and that they needed to stop flirting with each other. She seems genuinely upset about this all, but I'm still weirded out by some of the wording she was using, particularly the keep me honest part, which makes it sound like if she thought she could get away with banging him she would. I just can't imagine developing a crush on someone else. I'm crazy in love and happily married. It just hurts to know that she doesn't feel the same, and I'm not sure how we can navigate our relationship now where I'm always going to be worried what she's doing at work with the other guy. Edit, this guy is like 30 years older than my wife and me. Time for the responses. You are getting the trickle truth. You've only heard about 10% of the actual story, and you shouldn't take what she confesses to as the whole truth. If you have to keep her honest, then she already knows she is not honest. She can't stay at that job. Leave the job or you leave the marriage, only because she can't unwind the feelings and flirting. It doesn't work that way. Clean break from the issue if she wants a chance to make it work. Step 1. She becomes fully transparent with her phone and electronics. Anything less than that, you divorce. Step 2. She leaves the job. Anything less than that, you divorce. Step 3. She seeks a therapist to understand why. Anything less than that, you divorce. Step 3b, you seek out your own therapist. Infidelity is traumatic in a way that will take a long time for you to heal. You will need to learn coping mechanisms. Step 4, seek couples counseling for you all to work out the why together, but only after some time in IC to prepare yourselves for this. Anything less, and you'll divorce. If at any time in this process, you feel the romance for her fade due to her actions, you're free to leave. You owe her nothing anymore due to how easily she treated you. And while trying to reconcile, recognize that if you just don't feel the same way about her anymore, you can walk away. So this guy asked her to leave her husband of 4 years for him, and yet they have never even kissed? Come on. No one would ask this or even consider it if it wasn't physical. And others are right. You can't reconcile as long as she is still working with him. At a minimum, you should consult with an attorney to see what divorce would look like. Also think about separating your accounts and getting an STD test. Remember, cheaters lie, and they lie a lot. Good luck. Thank you for watching till the end of the video, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. See you in the next video.